G'day folks, it's Stephen here. Just letting you know that this video is not a tutorial, do-it-yourself, DIY, this is how you fix up your trailer kind of a build. I am going to show you a lot of the steps, but take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a little bit more gentle than that. I'm sure it's fine.
The original axle on this rig was just a bit long. The wheels protruded about that much, nearly an inch out either side. Not a big deal. In fact, it saved my bacon when the whole thing rolled over. But this new axle, I think it's a 62 inch, and it's just a bit of a punt, and I think it's going to work out just fine. At least it really needs to, because once I weld that axle or do anything to it, I can't take it back and exchange it.
Don't know how well this is going to come out. But hear that? If you can't hear much, that's because this side is pretty good. There's minimal play. It's a little bit loose. I could probably stand a bit, tighten up. But let's check out the other side. Listen to the difference. It sounds like there's gravel in there. Before I literally had it bind up on me. And that is because the seal at the back, which is supposed to keep all of the dirt and sand and stuff out, has popped out, exposing the bearings to the ravages of the road. So it's a good thing we're doing this, because this bearing, probably under load, would have failed, seized up, or done something fairly spectacular, usually at speed. Yeah, that's really nasty. this bolt ain't very good. Gonna have to go get some more. This shoulder really should come all the way up to here, because you've got all this good supporting area, and all of a sudden you've got the bush trying to be supported on threads. And as you can see, it hasn't held up well. So we're ditching the mystery grade bolt for a grade 8 fine thread high tensile with a nylock, which is sort of the more normal way of doing things. The thread's a bit long, but the shoulder of the bolt will be supporting the bushing and everything else, the hangers. We won't have anything on the threads, which is more ideal.
Now, when setting up these plates, it's really important to make sure that they are square and parallel, and the best way to do that I know of is to measure from the machined shoulder that's there on the axle. I'm using my set square of just setting it at 5mm and not touching that, just working my way around and confirming that it is all the same distance all the way around. That'll make it really nice and parallel. And I'm only tack welding it on with the MIG, and I'm going to take it on over, put it on the forks and stick weld it on, because my MIG welder is only a 180 amp and it just hasn't quite got enough bite to do the job properly. And the welder I'm going to use is an Arlec 220 Weldmate, which was, oddly enough, the best welder you could buy from Kmart back in the 80s, and it was the deluxe model to boot. And I picked it up for free off Facebook Marketplace, which is hilarious. And it's sort of very similar to the welder that my dad had when I was a young kid, and was the first welder that I ever used. So I sort of saw it and went, oh gee, yeah, I'm going to grab that. It's a bit of nostalgia. And I'm just running it flat out, just all the way up. Get our last bit of adjustment, make sure everything's lined up and even. We'll crank those down. The first rule for packing bearings with grease is make sure the area is clean. That's why I just gave it a little spray down with WD-40 and wiped the area. Grinding dust is an abrasive, and it's not a good thing to put inside a bearing at the beginning of its life. And packing a bearing is just a messy affair unless you've got the proper tool for the job, which I don't. And it just involves putting grease in the palm of your hand and slapping the bearing into that pile, forcing the grease up and through it so that there's no voids. Every area inside of it is packed with grease, and all the rollers have a good covering. And now I need to continue making a mess and put some more grease inside the hub itself so that there's just a bit of a reservoir in there. In goes the bearing, and now for the seal. And the seal really should be seated with a proper tool, but I don't have that, so I'm just tapping it in with a wooden mallet. And when I put it on the shaft and do it up, that'll actually finish that seating process and push the seal into its correct depth. And that goes on. And now, one thing you need to know about bearings and trailers is that you need to set the correct amount of load or preset into the bearings. And that's done with this castle nut. And basically, you don't want it too tight and you don't want it too loose, because the bearings will expand as they get hot. So if they're too tight, they might seize up on you. But you don't want it too loose, because then it won't wear right. So when setting up bearings in a trailer, the way I was taught was put your wheel on and give it a good spin. If it only does one turn, you're pretty much on the money. if it just keeps spinning, you're way too loose and you need to keep doing up that nut until you sort of get this effect. Keeping in mind though, the seal might not be all the way seated in, and so it's a good idea to do the nut up fairly firmly and then back it off. And lock it all off with the split pin through the castle nut, and then put the gas cap on. The grease cap. Now you really don't need one of these to put the grease cap on, but if you don't want to damage the grease cap, you'll need to make something like this. And all it does is, when you're hammering, it's only contacting the outside rim of the grease cap, just like that. This trailer has electric brakes, and so that bit of pipe is for the cable that's going to send power to the brakes. I've really gone overboard in deburring it to make sure that there's nowhere that the cable could rub through. Basically, you're just trying to create a secure pathway for your cable, somewhere where it can't get ripped off or rubbed through, because that would be obviously bad. And it's all pretty straightforward. And for taking the cable up to the control box, I'm using a 20mm gland. And that's just going to be a really nice, secure and watertight way of getting the cable through. While I'm here, I'm going to fix that gaping wound. And with that all done, it's time to flip the trailer back over.